Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel for another Draw With Me style Procreate tutorial. It's been a while since I did one of these and I'm really excited to dive in to this one with you. I'm going to be doing a little bit of an updated version of an old video with kind of some new tips added in there. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can use Procreate to create some Instagram story slides or templates. So this section of my Procreate gallery has all of my Instagram story slides, as I like to call them. As you can see, as I scroll back through here, there's lots of my old Wallpaper Wednesdays where I've created templates for playing this or that with wallpaper designs. It's also where I create my wallpapers for Wallpaper Wednesday, so they're all in the correct size and format. I also have infographics like this from when I did a live with Rachel Emma Waring. So there's so much that you can do with it. So the first thing that you're going to need is to get your canvas right. So I'm going to show you, this is the canvas that I have set up for Instagram stories. It's also the same canvas that I use for Reels because it's the correct format for Reels. I use a canvas that is 2000, I'm just going to fill it in here, 250 pixels in width and 4000 pixels in height. What really matters here is your dots per inch. I use 600 dots per inch, which is your DPI. That's going to give you a really nice high quality image when you export it. I'm going to show you some things that you can do to your canvas in terms of adding backgrounds, how to add images, and how to add text. And then the rest really is up to you and how you get creative with it. So let's start with our backgrounds. Obviously in Procreate you can choose to add a background color using your color palettes and your color picker, and this automatically sets the background to that color. Alternatively, you might want to turn your background off because maybe you want to create something that you can layer over a photograph on stories, and then you might want to create a separate layer for your background color and just fill that layer with the color. And the benefit to this, for example, is you could create a frame with it, which you can copy and paste into stories by maybe erasing or taking out a section of that layer, like this, for example. I just used my eraser tool. I created a circle using my shape tool, and then I'm just going to erase the rest of it completely. Okay, so now I could actually just copy and paste this, save it as a PNG and copy and paste it into stories like a sticker and just increase the size so it covers the image behind it. Or I could actually add an image from my gallery in and put it behind that layer so it becomes like a frame. So for example, this one, I can drag it behind my color layer here, and then I can reposition it so the part of the picture that I want to show is hidden behind or is visible in the circle. Something that's really popular and trendy at the moment is gradient or blended color backgrounds. So I'm going to show you how to do that really simple in Procreate. I'm going to switch my background to a pink or white, and I'm going to get out my monotone brush. Okay, so I'm going to just pick a color. You can pick whatever color you want. I'm going to do a gradient of rainbow colors. I'm just going to add a squiggly line of that color, fill it. I'm going to switch to a lighter pink now. These lines don't have to be precise, just rough, adding the colors that you want to. Okay, so this is just one layer and just chunks of different color across the layer. And I'm going to go to my adjustments menu and I'm going to click on this Gaussian blur. I'm going to click the layer option, and then I'm just going to slide my pen across here. You can see that the percentage of the blur is going to go up, and you'll see as I pull the percentage higher that those colors are going to blend together really nicely. I can have the blend like less blended if I wanted, but I want to blend it 100% so that the colors really mix together. Then I'm going to go back to my adjustments menu, and this time I'm going to click on the noise. Again, I'm going to click layer. I'm going to click the billows because I prefer that effect. And again, I'm going to start sliding it wrong. And I hope you can see this in the video. I'm going to take it really dramatic so you can see. This is going to add that nice grain to it that you see is really popular on backgrounds and filters at the moment. I'm just going to take it to about 16% there, probably even less. Now I've got this really lovely gradient ombre background with this lovely noisy grain filter on top of it. This is a really trendy style for backgrounds at the moment. Obviously you don't have to do as intense colors as I've done here. I'm going to start again and I'll do maybe something that's a little bit more trendy right now, which I'm going to do for a little bit of pink, and then I'm going to do like a light blue, just a small amount, and then a lilac. It's a really trendy style to have in backgrounds at the moment. It's really simple to create in Procreate, and the benefit of doing it in Procreate is you can do it with your own brand colors. You can choose how much of a blend you want or a blur you want. You can choose if you want a grain or not, and then you can go in and add your own illustrations on top of it, pictures, text, and so on. Another fun way to add a background on Procreate is to use a marbling effect. Now I'm going to click on my adjustments and I'm going to click on liquefy. There's a lot of different options that I can choose. I'm going to click on push. I can adjust the size, the pressure, distortion, etc. And then I'm just going to pull my pen around it, and what happens is it kind of like liquefies your background like it's paint. If you don't like it, you can reset. We can try a different one here. And as you can see, the more I play around with it, the more the colors get blended together and mixed up. And what it creates is this really nice liquid, almost marbling effect. So those are a few different background options. I'm going to switch back to this lovely colorful background that I created, and I'm going to show you some tips for adding photographs into your backgrounds for creating story slides. So I already showed you how to make a frame from a layer, which is basically taking your eraser and cutting a shape out. Another way that you can do that if you want to be more precise is by creating a shape on top. So I'm using black because it's a high contrast color. I'm using my monoline brush because it's nice and smooth. And this time I'm drawing the circle on top. I'm going to fill it with black. And the benefit about doing it this way is I can position that shape wherever I want it to be. So let's say I want my frame to be exactly centered to my story slide. Okay. I'm just going to duplicate this because I want to keep an original. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge this black circle down onto my colored layer. And I'm going to go to my magic wand tool and I'm going to use automatic, and I'm going to tap on that black circle. I'm just going to turn up the threshold a little bit to make sure that I grab all of the black. So now I've selected the circle. I'm going to click on my move tool, which is only going to select that black circle from the layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it off of the canvas. When I turn off my move tool, it will delete it because it's moved away from the canvas. And when I remove my background, you can see that I've created a transparent space inside of that layer. So instead of using the eraser tool, I just created a cutout with it. So this is also fun, for example, if you want to use a shape for your frame. I can create a new layer. I can go in and grab one of my shape brushes, like a star. Oop, that's a bit too big. I can position it where I want it on the canvas, then merge it down into my background layer, grab my select tool on automatic. Again, I'm just going to pull up the threshold a little bit so I grab all of the black, switch to move, pull it off the canvas, turn off the move tool. It will delete that bit that I removed from the canvas, and what I've got is this lovely transparent space which I can put a photo in behind. So insert a photo on a separate layer. and then that shape becomes my frame. The next thing that I'm going to show you for adding photos, if you don't want to create a frame that you're layering things on top, you can use a clipping mask. I personally prefer to use clipping masks because it gives me a little bit more control over my finished slide. If I decide once I've added text that I want to move my picture around, that's a little bit more difficult when I've created a cutout in a layer because I have to go back and repeat the whole process. So a clipping mask is actually a better way to do it. Again, I'm going to use a brand shape for this just to show you. This time I'm going to use one of my flowers. I'm going to make sure it's not too big for the canvas. There we go. I'm gonna pull it up there to fit it the way I want it and center it. I'm just gonna fill this middle part of the flower because obviously I don't want a hole in the middle of my picture. Then I'm gonna add a new layer on top of this shape and I'm going to change it to a clipping mask. Then I'm gonna click here to insert a photo from my gallery. I'm just gonna use the same one again. And what happens is that this image clips to that shape underneath. You still have your whole image on the layer above, so if you turn off the clipping mask, you can see your whole image. Once you turn back on the clipping mask, it clips to the shape underneath. The benefit of this is I can create a group with this, and then as I'm creating my slide, so let's say I want to turn this into a story slide to tell my followers about a new YouTube video going up, I can add some text to it. But I can also play around with where I want the text to be. So I might want a little the title to be at the top, and I might want the time to be at the bottom and the photo in the middle. But because I've left this as a layer, it means I can pick it up and move it around and play with that positioning. Clipping masks can be done with any shape. You can draw directly onto it. So you might want to not have a flower, maybe you want to have a circle. Again, drawing a circle, using the shape tool to change it to a perfect circle, fill in the circle, position it exactly where I want in between my text. Then I'm going to turn back on my picture, change it into a clipping mask, and then I can move the picture separate to the circle to position it where I want, or I can move them both together by selecting them both and decide exactly where I want them on the canvas. I can do fun things like this and have it half coming on, maybe another picture over here, or I can just have it nice and simple like that in the middle of my text. Some things to keep in mind as you are creating Insta Story templates or slides with Procreate is possibly turning on your canvas guides. This allows you to better position text, or if you want to hand letter your information on, maybe instead of having the text, you want to just have it lettered by hand. Again, it would be helpful if I actually created a layer for that. There we go. So your canvas guides allow you to get your text a little bit straighter. The other benefit to the canvas guides is it makes you more aware of the space. So obviously if you are creating an Insta Story slide, you have to be aware of the space at the top and the bottom, because once it is on Instagram stories, that is where your message box is going to appear, and up here is where your profile picture and other information for people who are viewing the story to tap on. So make sure that you only position your information to the center and don't take it too far to the edges, especially if it's a slide like, for example, the one I showed you for Wallpaper Wednesday, where there's a lot of information. I don't want any of this text to get covered because I want my viewers to be able to read it. So I've made sure that I've left enough space at the bottom and at the top. So there you go. Some really simple ideas to get you started and inspired on how you can use Procreate to create some Instagram story slides. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications to get reminders when new videos go up. If you have any questions about using Procreate, or if you want to do something specific for your stories or for Instagram, then just leave me a comment down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. That's all from me today, and I will see you again really soon.